Look, I know we've given a lot of credence to our Second Amendment laws. I'm a Second Amendment pro-gun right guy, but I will tell you, we cannot allow criminals to be running around here with guns, with body armor, and not who they are, know who they are. I think it's time that we start looking at mental health laws, start looking at gun protection laws. We got to do what we got to do to make sure that the right people have the guns. I think we ought to look at the issue of fatherlessness. We also ought to look at weed. We know that cannabis increases psychoses by 5 times. So I think everything should be on the table, including what you say, maybe improving background checks. But thank God there was a guy with a gun there to take this guy down. Yeah.
So the fascinating thing about what you just saw is not just that interaction happened on Fox, but that individual, Tre Pennie, is a Republican congressional candidate who, look, he mentioned all of the other things that Republicans love to say are responsible for mass gun violence other than the guns, but he also said gun control. She then modified that to background checks. It's a much smaller version of what he had said. And then she added in fatherlessness and of course weed, which as we all know creates psychosis. Perhaps psychosis strong enough to produce people like Rachel Campos-Duffy, who believe that is a suitable solution to the problem that we face. And again, I will say what I always say, if you believe that America is uniquely broken when it comes to a lack of fathers, if you believe that everyone around us is tripping balls on psychotic weed, then the last thing you would want is for them to be able to walk into a store, hand over $750, get a weapon of war, and then shoot up a bakery or whatever. You obviously do not believe the things you're saying, because if you did, you would be screaming for gun control more than anyone else.
This is something that was overtly sexual. They clearly said all ages welcome. And now apparently the left is gaslighting me into thinking that I'm somehow the crazy one for having a problem with this. Yeah, I mean, I believe, Tucker, that it's a more sinister attempt by the left to, they want this radical country. The only way that they can achieve that is through complete chaos and confusion. And what is the best way to confuse children? Confuse them about their sexuality, confuse them about their gender, expose them to things that their little brains are not ready for yet. That is how they are confusing children. It is leading to chaos, and Big Daddy government, of course, can be there to pick us all up and take care of us at the end of it.
Okay, the only person that looks truly confused there is Tucker Carlson because of the blank, slack-jawed stare. And for once, I sort of get it. She's making no sense. That is Sarah Gonzalez, who has set up this Texas family project to hound drag queens and probably end up getting someone beaten or killed. That's a flash forward. We'll get to that in a couple of months. And we will be talking about what this organization is planning to do. But I want to just briefly respond to what she was actually saying there. And it's largely, she was brought on to say it because it's what Tucker Carlson says every day, Miranda, that this is an intentional thing, that these drag shows happen. And by the way, they just started happening. They haven't been going on for literally decades or whatever. They just started happening as part of an organized attempt by they to confuse America's kids about their sexuality and identity for reasons that cannot be explained and will never be explained. I don't understand it, but Miranda, what do you make of this argument used by the right against drag queens?
I think there's so much to unpack in this story that I'm tempted to just throw away the whole suitcase, but it's our job to break it down. And the concept of gender, kids are aware of it because when they're born, we designate them a gender. And it's, guess what? They're saying it's made up. They made up transgender. They made up drag. It's all made up. Gender is a made up concept by humans. Kids are already aware of gender. They're aware that they are either labeled a boy or a girl. So all we're doing by making them aware that there are multiple genders or that genders can change and they're fluid is saying, I understand that you are going to feel either that you match with the gender you've been assigned or you don't, and it's okay to talk about it and it's okay to ask questions and it's okay that you feel that way. Trans kids exist, gay kids exist, whether you teach them about this or not. And so the only reason they're confused is because you don't allow them to talk about it and you don't allow it to be taught in schools. I also love that this is the radical future that leftists want, and it's a drag queen having a good time. I'm like, you're right, that is the radical future that I want as a leftist. That looks like a great time. There's literally nothing that drag queens are doing to attack children's innocence. They're just dressing up and having a good time.